$1.3 million short of the last year, $6.3 million, based on, we have Matt was here last year, so.
This year was based on.
This year was based on $5
Yeah.
million. Now, we're hearing today that those numbers, we'll have a better idea this week. We could gain a couple $100,000 without putting ourselves at risk for the 26 budget cycle as far as casino revenue goes. So the original percentages stayed the same for most part, and that put you guys 47,000.
Yes, it cut 47,000 in total for our budget, with what you had lost plus the 0.8% that you had changed.
Yeah, $46,875. No. That was 3.125% based off the 5 million. So that's where that number came in. You said that is pretty catastrophic.
Yeah, so,
we don't want to go into this.
I guess a few things, if Keith, you don't mind. One thing, when we're going through this, I mean, and again, I understand the situation you guys are in, make no mistake about it. I understand you're doing cuts, I understand that, it's not what I'm saying. First and foremost, we would appreciate the opportunity to know when you were voting on this or whatever, to allow us to explain to you, how it affected us or what that looked like to us prior to making those cuts. In my opinion, doing so would allow you the ability to prioritize what was going on before percentages. And I don't think that occurred. It was just, we pretty much just walked in there. I myself, the next day, started getting phone calls right out the back. What are you doing this? What are you doing that? Like, I don't know. Everybody calm down. Let me try to figure this out. So, I went back on Facebook and watched the meeting, and that's when, I reached out to you, Ryan. You were very receptive for the record. I appreciate that. And I had also spoke with Jamie a little bit about it. Just briefly, like you and I had. So that's what kind of led us into this. And then you and I discussed it that night, so we probably should sit down and hash this out, or at least make you guys aware of the situation it puts us in, and or what we do with the money, et cetera. I want you to first understand that $47,000 cut in 2026 terms relates to 5.6% of our total gross budget at town. 5.6% of our total gross budget in 2026. So, that's a chunk to us. We use our riverboat revenue, we use that for items such as OBRA grants, infrastructure, community crossing grants, sewer projects. A couple years ago, I think we put $1.3 million into a sewer project. It doesn't directly go into like the police department, for example, which for the record, I'm going to fight tooth and nail to keep that police department here no matter what. Prior to popular belief, what people like to run their mouth about. I do anything I can to keep it here. We've got a new vehicle coming. I voted every single time to fund them, to give them raises, to give them new guns, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to keep doing that. So, though it doesn't directly affect them when you're taking off, 5.5% of our gross budget, you start having to look at, hey, where do we cut at? Well, we can't cut any more out of that, period. So, it starts impacting ways, where do we do this, where do we do that. And then, the other thing is that I guess I can't understand how you would try to cut, essential government agencies that are using it for infrastructure improvements and stuff, yet you come up with $80,000 left for NGOs. I struggle with that. And this is coming from a person that's elected as a representation of, the annexed area people, the annexed area of Vivi. I would like some form of explanation of that, myself, honestly. And again, I'm not attacking you guys. I have nothing but respect for both of you, and I think you're doing a great job over there. And I understand, let's face it, we're in a financial crisis here. The county is, we are. This is, the decisions that you guys are making right now are going to impact greatly the outcome and or the stream in which this goes from here. So, that was most of the things that I think I had on there. It raises another concern with me personally in that, come 2027 or next year, our lit tax and public safety tax goes to you guys instead of us. That ranges between $230,000 and $260,000. So, if you're gonna cut this without even coming to us and saying, "Well, how does this affect you?" I mean, are we gonna be able to ask, according to SB one, are we gonna be able to come back to you and say, "Hey, can we have our money back?" You know, I'll put it in layman's terms, but, you know, and how's that gonna work? You know, if we can't have some kind of relationship, you know, based on a little better understanding of that. Because, and once that money goes, you know, we're bound by the law to provide fire protection, for example, and that, then they can pay out, is that $30,000? Yeah, $30,000 in that alone. The SB one thing is going to affect us in how we generate revenue back, or we get some of that money back, not just that, but in other areas. And I'd like to keep it open, good communications and a good relationship between you guys and us, you know, across the board to see what, you know, make sure we get that done. I just don't feel that happened. In the interim of doing that, I think you guys have allotted, what, $60,000 in total for a code enforcement officer, is that right? And, yeah, so is that just one position or is that two? So one position for $60,000. So, you know, currently we have a building inspector that has complete lack of participation in any of our code enforcement at all. And the fact that when we're doing our unsafe building ordinances and stuff, you know, we're doing the job of that code enforcement officer now. We're independently hiring to the sum of $800 a piece, what's an engineer or whatever to do that, to get the buildings torn down and repair them. You know, so when it's specifically stated in all the books that, you know, your current building inspector is to do that in the annexed area of EDM and Patriot Above.
What's the guys spent in 25 on that nice case?
What's that now?
With having to hire someone to do the building inspector's job?
One inspection in 2025, it was $800.
Yes, $800 on top is what we pay for that.
But you get that back once they pay.
You're
I mean, I've got one.
You're rolling the dice on that. You're
I-
rolling the dice on that.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean,
like
I have
right-
one I'm gonna write a check.
Right, so like right now, for example, we have one,
Or two, I think there is.
we have one going through the court system, and the property actually sold at sheriff sale.
No, this is a different one that I'm talking
I understand, but I'm just using this as an
Yeah,
example.
I know
So,
that one.
and currently, you know, we're asking for $14,500 reimbursement, and we've got an offer on the table from the gentleman who bought it for over $10,000. So, you know, we're gonna take a hit on that.
about. They can't do anything until September this year.
Correct.
So,
And for this one, that's correct, but I'm just saying that if we choose to take that 10,000, we're taking a hit on that, and again, that would soften some of that blow.
yeah. But you do get recoup some of that.
Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. Well, we shouldn't be having to recoup that 800.
We shouldn't have to-
Why should we be doing that? It's specifically spelled out in
I
here.
don't know, do you guys, on those town ordinances, do we have a copy of those?
It's all online.
County,
It's all
is it
online.
all online? Okay, I'm just asking.
Yeah, they have to coincide though with the county stuff anyway.
And I think Patriots are very similar too.
Yeah.
If there's online as well, you know.
Yeah.
So you're gonna retain your current code officer plus hire another one? Well, we can't talk personnel matters in the public meeting like this, but,
So I guess, yeah, I get you. I guess, so my question was, and you know I'm gonna ask this, I mean, is that code enforcement officer in fact going to perform his duties within the annex area of Levy?
well, that would be the plan, but here's the deal, with the code enforcement officer, and that was what I said publicly the other night, we are 1 year probably from even being in a position to hire code enforcement officers, because everybody wants to jump into a code enforcement officer. Jefferson County did it where I work, I watched them do it, they jump into these positions, they have no civil liability procedures, they have no civil litigation procedures in place. So the county has none, Jefferson County, by Congress, has no civil litigation
Yes.
process in place. So you can write all the ordinance violations you want, and you're gonna fail, you're gonna go one ear out the other and the trash can, that's the way it works.
We learned that.
That's why we tabled a ordinance the other 2 weekends, or 2 Mondays ago about, sanitation bags in the back of horses. That doesn't mean that's not gonna pass, but there was no point in passing that evening, because we have nothing in place to enforce that.
Yep.
We passed a license plate law a couple of years ago about, almond buggies. Still sits today, because we can't enforce that ordinance, because they never took the steps to put that in place. So the grand scheme of things is to eventually enforce all county ordinances. That takes some off of, the chief of police, this is my personal opinion. The chief of police in any town, whether it's Hanover, Beebe, wherever, should not have to be bothered with enforcing ordinances, measuring people's lawns, and they shouldn't have to be bothered with that kind of stuff. And so that is the grand scheme, but we're a long way off from that.
And I, for the record, am an advocate for that, period. I believe that, zoning enforcement in general is the epicenter of everything, from law enforcement on up. You improve that, you cut down on the crime, you cut down on the demographics of that, it in return raises property value, more property taxes, et cetera, et cetera. You couldn't find anybody that's more gung-ho about getting that done, really. I'm just asking the question and pointing out my concerns to you guys. And try, hopefully doing so respectfully, honestly.
Well, yeah, I know that's why we're here, that's why I accepted this, I think we should sit here and talk about this publicly. The other caveat to that is we put in ordinance/county manager position. We are literally one of maybe 4 counties I've found in the state of Indiana that don't have a county manager. That has proven to be a problem here. That falls all on Gail. Gail has another job to do as well. Things slip through the cracks from time to time, and we need somebody in place to handle that kind of thing. County managers work for council, they work for commissioners, they handle contract, whatever. We need that person in place.
Didn't have that person do
We did.
different jobs and
We did.
And the departments.
That was eliminated in December or whatever, 24 or 25.
yeah, because that, I thought that was a good position to have.
Yeah, I think it's very needed, on a lot of aspects. Just the fact that we have to keep YouTube records and whatnot of
Sure.
meetings, things like that.
Do what we're doing right now.
A place to do that, somebody that can handle commissioner issues, handle council issues. And then that's gonna be for the 3 of us and add a lot, but who gets that, that position, but that's where.
And look at job criteria.
What is
It's
the
gonna be
job-
hard one.
What does the job description look like?
When did John say that he was gonna verify? By tomorrow, Thursday?
Yeah. He was gonna look at it again tomorrow, he wasn't in the office anymore when I talked to him. He's talking about what the.
Yeah, what your real revenue actually
So
is.
we'll have those for sure, if you want to come to meetings, normal, it's Tuesday, because
Yeah.
it's a holiday, obviously. We'll have those numbers. And if those numbers do go up, then we are going to rescind the percentages that were approved. Because if we're gonna get more money, and we're guaranteed that more money, then we need to spread that money across the county properly,
Yeah.
so we're not sitting.
Hopefully doing it using the prioritization, manner. I know.
Who always cut the money out of?
Right now, I think casino revenue goes into the rainy day emergency fund, it goes into county health benefits, which is the big one. Law enforcement, emergency response, EMS. Commissioners fund, grant fund, Switzerland County Public Schools, Town of Beatty, Town of Patriot, Cotton Township, Craig Township, Jefferson Township, Pleasant Township, all the townships. Fire Chiefs Association, and then the current code enforcement, county manager. That's what casino revenue should be.
I also would like to point out to everyone listening, and everyone watching here, that, as they watch, you guys and us both struggle here, just to give everyone an example of this, and we just ran a little back, started throwing some numbers today. But, the town of Beatty alone has been, watching this diminish over time to the point where in 2009, we received $1.2745 million from gaming revenue in 2009. Held out around 800,000 for quite a while, and down to the, 230 number for 2025. So that gives you an idea of what, but don't get me wrong, government is.
You're saying the same cut there too, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you guys are a ripple effect as we are.
And we took into effect, and it'll count a few things, it's hard to find the right number. The county rainy day fund got cut significantly this year.
Sure.
It has a lot of money in it, but it's another thing that you do want to fund, but we cut it significantly, we cut the school systems.
Yeah, I'm just trying to point out the facts to anybody watching or whatever, so everyone knows what all of us are up here trying to do, and what the end result there is, and why it's that way.
And the pot is getting smaller.
Yeah, the pie is small.
And unfortunately, we're in a place where casino revenue is supplementing. You guys know better, what was our shortfall this year on county budget, I forget the number.
Around 400,000.
400,000 shortfall this year alone, so. Matt actually said it, and I agree with Matt, there's gonna be some decisions made here this year that's going to have to make, to bring that $400,000 down. we have to get to a place where we can't rely on casino revenue.
Well, that's right.
We all have to get to that place eventually, and that's easier said than done, I know.
I mean, if you look at, you know, and back to the whole, not to keep bringing the police thing up, I mean, everybody's in arms about that, but, you know, the reality of the fact is, and this, you know, from just looking at 2014, 2013, 2012, et cetera, I mean, we went anywhere from $70,000 to $150,000 of gaming spent directly at the police. 2024, 73,000, 90,000 in 2013, 125,000 in 2012, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, I mean, that money, though they were doing that in the past, we spend, what do we move over?
It's all in the general fund.
Yes, we operate completely out of general fund without using any of those dollars at all whatsoever. Not flubbing it, not saying, well, you know, in, what was it, 2021, 65% of our gross budget went to the police department. You know, that's not IDGLF approved, to be clear. You can't do that.
Right.
You can't operate like that.
And some of that capacity is for cars and just keeping up with what we're struggling to keep up with now. I mean,
You can't see him do that. The other thing I did want to clarify with Ryan personally, he and I talked about this, is, you know, I understand that we only have 2 officers currently in town. We are quote-unquote short-staffed. I mean, we're on the new norm to any town of our size, for lack of anything else to say. But, and I understand that, in fact, the sheriff's department is shorthanded as well, is that correct? So, to clarify, you know, their overtime hours are not directly or completely affected as a result of the town being shorthanded. That is not the case. They are, in fact, shorthanded themselves with their return to doing that. I would also like to go on the record saying that I personally reached out to Brian Morton and said, hey, if there's anything we can do to adjust our nighttime guy schedule to assist you guys to try to cut some of this down, this was before. You know, I reached out to him and said that, and John had already done it too. John's doing an excellent job. He had reached out and said, you know, if we can work this around in scheduling so that, you know, I can come out and kind of help you guys, we make sure we've got more coverages for, you know, less overtime. And we have done that. We're trying to do this, you know, amicably, help everybody out. I just want you to know that. I was president when I did that. I reached out to him, you know, he was very receptive toward that, appreciative, and you know. So I just want that, you know, again, on the record.
How much casino revenue makes up DV's budget? I know it's 5.6% is that your total growth, but it's casino? Or is that what the mix is?
We usually take around 150,000 out of our gaming for our general budget, just to fund their items. Which we have our, you know, our street funds that help with the community crossings, but a lot of times now that we have the new ADA plan, the 5-year plan, we go over on that, so that's why we have to use a little bit of gaming for community crossings. Last year, the emergency flood that happened, we're still waiting on FEMA money, but that was $73,000 that we had to use out of our gaming just to get Oval Park back up. 73,000, so we only use it for basically emergencies or projects, so we don't have to, you know, go get bonds or loans.
and especially things like community crossing grant. We don't keep up with year to year, paving
Yes.
streets as we can go, as we can afford, then we'll be in a little trouble.
Well, you're all well aware of what community crossing looks like now.
Yeah, and that's.
It's not like much of anything. I went to the commissioners conference in Indy, and there were, I don't remember the number now, roughly 10 counties that got $0 this year in community crossing money, $0. And so it's gonna stay that way. We might be that county next year. We don't.
Yet they're requiring you to put in all the ADA stuff by X amount of time. You know, it's
We
like,
got the most of that this year in the whole state, which is, like 800, whatever it was, thousand. But we might get 0 next year. I don't know. So that's the way it is under this,
And I know you all fight the same battles we fight, but we get the state kind of mandating what we have to change in town.
yeah, they'll carry your money from.
well, I talked to Indianapolis today, there's a couple different bills. One's in committee, one's going to the House floor, I believe, it went today. And they're gonna go after some of this online gaming money that we currently get.
You and I talked about that, we have, yeah, I talked about that.
I think one of them went to the floor today.
That should happen.
Yeah, it should, yeah.
So to be clear, that's, I will take a hard stance on that.
Some of
That should
those,
happen.
some of those might, you know, we may get percentage of that. They made it this far, it might keep going.
Well, take it even forget it, right?
What's the latest on the state project through Tam?
20, I don't know, just keep getting postponed, but keep,
2027, 2029,
yeah,
23rd.
yeah, right. Till it don't happen.
yeah, the highway's in awful shape.
All right. Well,
It blows my mind
Tuesday,
because they
we'll
put a lot into that, into the engineering and getting all the plans together, the money they spent on that, they turn around.
Yeah, they've got to be millions deep in
Well,
that.
it sounds, very in-knowledge.
Yeah. Listen, for me personally, I thank both of you for listening to us. That's all I can say. I hope moving forward that you'll consider the situation in any kind of all puts us in, let alone, 5% of our budget. You can see that, to make an informed decision.
Yeah, I appreciate this meeting, that we did this. And then Tuesday, 5 o'clock, we'll have a notice. You all wanna come to that? We'll see what we get from John Bond and what kind of changes we make across the board.
We do as well. We've got our meeting at the same time.
Oh.
That's why we get hear what's going on secondhand. If we're in this meeting, and time to get out of this meeting, it calls us something else.
Ours is at 4:30, this is at 5.
Right.
So if we're done with it, yeah.
Yeah. We won't even get to that till probably 5:30. All the stuff that goes in the beginning, so somebody wants to.
So I'm not here as counsel. Guys, I think, and I'm glad you're saying this at 5 o'clock or whatever time that is next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Here's my comment to you. I agree with what you stated because I've heard it time and time again, both as a council person and as a member of BB's community. You gotta if there's a way to let these trustees know about this meeting, reach out to them and tell them about it, you need to do that. I think the fact that it was dropped on them unintentionally, explain that part. You guys have, nor do we have any control over what the casino is going to give us. I'm not aware of this additional money coming in, and that scares the hell out of me because John and I sat and talked with the casino manager, talked to him about the numbers they gave us, and now we're hearing that it's gonna be a bigger amount. I wouldn't trust it. We didn't know about this until August of this year anyways. But I think with what Jeremy said about prioritization of the stats of who you give to, that's critical. The trustees take care of the entire community, every single person. That's what they're accountable to do. And when they take a percentage cut, whether you change their percentage or not because there's less money, that's a problem. Those are the guys and gals that we have to take care of. Let alone, I've heard from a couple of the volunteer fire department. They were shocked that they were losing $40,000. I would suggest that entire list, the chiefs, Brian, all that group, be invited to this Tuesday meeting so that we know why the prioritization. I agree with Jeremy. It's not on commissioners. It's what the hand that we're all dealt. The council's dealt the same hand. Who do I think personally should never be included in that until we try to make everybody whole? It's the grants. That's my opinion. We're not here to help supply and take care of an organization outside of what's good for the government and the people. Those NGOs got to live on their own. We can't help them out of their problems, but we can take care of the county in itself. And if you are getting money, and I'm totally, Ryan, you know that you and I had this conversation about county managers. I think we screwed that when we lost the first one, and we did it again with the second one. But if you're getting money that's outside of this, and then talking about what we can do to fund something else, a lower position or priority position, I would target that money to cover the expense of a county manager. That makes sense. You need it. Yeah, God knows Gail can't keep doing HR audit, taxes, everything else, and keep throwing that on her. If that county manager's here, it's gonna benefit both council and commission, whether it's the current council or the current commissioners. Down the road, you have to have somebody that has history. And history's a good thing to have, because we're not all gonna be here. So, I go back to this point of the prioritization and the letting people know. You can't force them to come, but I think that list of who that affects should be invited personally to this meeting next Tuesday. And I'll be there. I'm sure that some members of council will be there, but the fire chiefs, the sheriff, all the trustees, those folks need to be there. I think you guys did a great job of explaining where we are as Vivi. It is a struggle, and I understand your struggle too. We all have it. We are in a financial crisis.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. It's hard. It's
I
hard.
can spread the word to some of the trustees, that's why I'm here tonight.
That'd be great.
And I know I'll see Aaron tomorrow.
I was gonna say I could send out
I'll
messages.
send out
to
to
Bill.
Kelly, I mean, we've all been talking too, because the HB 13-15s went through, and they're talking about dissolving townships.
Well, I had a 1 hour phone meeting about that today, and I think that's gonna happen, Wade.
Yeah, and
I think it's
we
gonna
gotta
happen.
come up with a plan, and we've all been, Garrett Bascom contacted us yesterday, and we're trying to come up with a consolidation plan too, also, and everybody, you know, look, now the trustees are bickering back and forth. I know 5 of the 6 of us have talked within the last couple of days, but, you know, ultimately, we gotta do what's right for the county. And we
You gotta
gotta
understand
understand
that-
what we need trustee wise too, cause when I'm reading it, it's gonna get handed to Brandy Gale County municipalities. There's another front of your job. I mean, look, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a dumping ground if we all come together here, and I feel like if you really care about this place and you're gonna stand up, everybody in all these positions that Matt just mentioned need to get in here, and we all need to figure out what's right for all of us.
And Ryan, we do need to be careful. It's not John Bond's job to tell us that number. That's the treasurer's job.
Yeah.
So we need to confirm with Yvette whether or not she agrees with the numbers.
That's gonna be normal. 'Cause this didn't even happen till 4:45 p.m. tonight, but this number came in. And I'll tell you, I think everything should be public. The number was $6 million. Now, I don't agree with that number. I don't agree that we're gonna look at $6 million. So I think
That's
$6 million, maybe we get it, and if we do, I'll do it. But I don't think
Here's
we're gonna get it.
here's my question, Paul, maybe this is not a question for now, but for next Tuesday, but if you're getting funds, and I do an annual report, y'all do annual reports, everybody's doing annual reports, I think if we're getting our county funds, everybody should be talking about and saying what they got, what they need, what we gotta do going forward.
Absolutely.
Fire Chiefs Association, everybody in the counties get whatever, everybody needs to say, look, I got this is what I need, that.
Well,
I mean,
that was talked about, and you're absolutely right.
I mean,
So-
goddamn it.
Because our
We're
numbers
getting
are getting
money,
cut so
and
much.
we need to be responsible, and everybody needs to say what they need, what they got. I mean, I know what I got, and it's going to be in the paper, and it's gonna be on the deal.
Well, you know, to add on to what he's saying, you know, and he and I have had this conversation even tonight, you know, a hole in our budget we can't fix it is a cemetery here. It is a hole in a budget that is.
And abandoned cemeteries is a big deal.
To the sum of $60,000+ a year, and you're never getting it back, you're never recuperating it, but the respect, it has to be there, there's no way around it. You know, there's no way. So I think there's some potential funding through, Wade, via him being our county, our trustee, or the.
Well, I'm in Jeff one now too, so I'm in town, I'm in Jeff 2 forever, now I'm in Jeff 1, so there's a town issue I'm concerned, you know, too,
Yeah.
I'm in the town now, but I'm
Well,
also a trustee, and
We've got to the point in the budgets where people are gonna have to now supply their budget.
That's
And I
right.
mean line items.
Yes.
Yeah,
They're gonna
I
have,
agree.
the days, you know, we're getting 10 million, 6 million,
I can
7
spend
million,
every
that's
one
gone.
here what I do every
They
year.
never come
Now
down.
we're gonna have to
And everybody should be able to do that.
We're gonna have to micromanage the budget, certainly in casino revenue.
And I'm even looking to take
This is
some of
what
my
you got,
funds
this
to
is what
invest
you need.
and try to do something like a 6-month CD, just, we're all, I will say about Travis Miller, I know for a fact, he's took some of his funds and invested in a CD, try to get, to make money to try to come up with ways to maintain.
Well,
So
we're,
we can keep going.
you know, this is off subject, but it is on the subject at the same time. We're all in uncharted territory here. There's not a single person in this room or anywhere in this county that can explain SB 1 to us right now. You can explain the English language of it, but we have no idea what that's gonna do.
100%.
So I made that complaint 2 weeks ago about SB 1. And so a week from tomorrow, I'm fortunate enough to get invited, I'm gonna have dinner at the governor's mansion with Mike Braun and 10 other commissioners. And we're gonna talk nothing but SB 1. How how does this screw us over? Because it screws us over. There's no
Bottom
silver
line.
lining. And I spoke to him on the phone about it when the invitation came out. And I said, I think that all the commissioners that are gonna be attending for that dinner, 10, I think, are all rural commissioners with low budgets. That's who's taking the hit. Carmel,
Exactly.
they don't care.
No, they don't. It's
That
not
doesn't affect
affect-
Carmel, it doesn't affect Michigan City, it affects Deedee's, and it affects Rising Sons. So these are all rural commissioners, and we're gonna sit down, and I'm gonna tell them, and maybe I'll get kicked out there in a minute, well, it's gonna affect us, and I don't know how. Matt and I have our disagreements, but I do agree that he is a budget-minded person. Scott's a budget-minded person, neither of them can tell us anything about SB one and what that's gonna do.
The trustee issue, I just talked to Garrett on his way going to a vote, and he brought this up, that's a part of SB one, that nobody was prepared to, nobody knew about.
No,
Now we're gonna have-
it was hidden inside of.
Yeah, reduction of township.
Yeah,
That's-
another.
I think.
We've all tried to read it.
Yeah.
I
read it today.
I'm serious.
I've got to come over a resolution in June for, I'm not real sure who the resolution's, that's gonna affect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And-
Literally, I literally downloaded the thing, printed it, and tried to understand it, and it's impossible. It seems to contradict itself. It
I will
seems to-
tell you
I
this,
don't know.
Garrett did tell us, look, you better look at a plan to consolidate. He didn't say we knew for sure it was gonna happen, but, so we all been talking, I mean, we have been talking, so I will make sure.
I mean, he told me that we have until June first, after June first, then we have to consolidate, it's not a choice anymore.
Yeah, we gotta come up with something,
That's a pretty big decision to make.
absolutely. And I wanna keep, look, I'm not trying to sound selfish here, but I wanna try to keep what we got in Jefferson Township also, because I've worked my ass off to get what I've got in there now. And my board that's not just me, my advisory board's helped me tremendously over the years. And we've all tried to do what we get, the right thing, but, we got some things we gotta take care of too on some of these things. The Marion Cemetery thing is a big deal. And we got some things that need work, and the town's got some troubles, and we got a lot, it's all our backs, so,
We gotta work together to fix it.
absolutely.
Based off whatever's coming down the line, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be.
sledgehammer's gonna look like, or
Yeah.
whatever it is, so.
Well, that's all I have.
Does anyone else have any comments? No one else have any comments?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn. Thank you all for coming out.
Yeah, thanks, guys, I really need that.
No, yeah,
Thank you.
no, we- this-
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.